Today are my colleagues from the House Republican Conference, and I will turn it over to Jodey Arrington from Texas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And by the way, I was only 9 years old when we had that 40 cents. We're flaunting our youth and vigor this morning. Thank you all for being here. The best way to describe President Biden's first year in office is one self-inflicted crisis and disaster after another. From chaos at the southern border to rampant crime throughout our cities, from the botched withdrawal in Afghanistan to a bungled COVID response. Unfortunately, Biden's economic policies and recovery plan has been no exception, characterized by incompetence, incoherence, and irrational policy decisions, and the results have been devastating for our country. In the months after COVID hit our shores, we all worked together with our Democrat colleagues to pass legislation and provide relief to our fellow Americans, our fellow families that were struggling, and our small businesses and the frontline workers. Despite campaign promises from President Biden, he broke from this bipartisanship and jammed through the largest multi-trillion-dollar partisan spending bill in the nation's history. Disguised as COVID relief, when the vast majority was not going to COVID, hundreds of billions of dollars were going to bail out blue states and Democrat union bosses, giveaways to green industries, and a parade of Democrat pet projects. Buried in this borrowing and spending mania were progressive policies that sideline labor, paying people more to stay at home than to go back to work, and stripping work requirements from welfare programs. On top of this unbridled spending, Biden launched unilateral assaults on oil and gas, choking the lifeblood of our economy and crushing consumers with high energy costs when they could least afford it. And as if that wasn't enough, Biden's liberty-infringing vaccine mandates forced millions of American workers to retire or be fired. All these taken together have created an unprecedented and unnecessary economic crisis. Inflation surging to a 40-year high, real wages plummeting, robbing working families of the thousands of dollars that they desperately need. 1 in every 5 Americans can't afford to heat their homes. And with millions of Americans unemployed, a stagnant workforce participation, small businesses are still struggling to hire people and to keep their doors open. The president made what I believe is a disconnected and outlandish statement yesterday. He said that we've made enormous progress. He said that we're better off today than we were a year ago. Mr. President, tell that to the working families in West Texas and throughout this great country who are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling, even before COVID, to put food on their table, gas in their tank, and keep the lights on in their homes. Tell that to the millions of hardworking Main Street business owners who have had a help wanted sign hanging on their door for the past year and risk losing their lifelong dream. Mr. President, tell that to the farmers and ranchers in West Texas who can't get their products to market, can't get parts for their tractors, and they can't afford 300% increase in seed, fertilizer, and other input costs. Mr. President, stop blaming everyone else. Stop pushing this radical agenda and work with us to solve the problems and address the real needs of our fellow Americans.